Did you know that Panama was a department of the Republic of Colombia until 1903, which would make it the youngest country in Latin America? Yes, this is the main reason why Panamanian history differs widely from that of other Central America countries. But anyway, if you already knew about the origin of the Isthmus country, do you know what happened? As you should already know, the famous Panama Canal is a very important access point that economizes navigation between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, so it certainly did not go unnoticed by the great powers. But was this the only cause? Are you interested in reviewing the reasons for this separation and how Colombia could do nothing to prevent it? Alright, then stay until the end of the video, but before you forget, subscribe to the channel. Believe me, it would help me a lot. As always, let's look at the background. Before the Latin American independences, Panama was part of the Viceroyalty of New Granada, and its territory comprised the jurisdiction of the Audience of Mainland. After the Wars of Independence, Colombia delivers the Patriot victory in the Battle of Boyacá, which represents the fall of the Viceroyalty of New Granada in favor of Greater Colombia, the great unionist project of Simón Bolívar. Panama, for its part, does not break ties with the Spanish Empire until the first cry of independence in the Villa de los Santos. A few days later, independence is proclaimed, led by the hero José de Fábrega. However, the lack of budget and little military weaponry put the newly obtained sovereignty at risk in the face of a potential Spanish attempt at reconquest. Thus, it is proposed that the territory join Peru, the Isthmus's main trading partner during the colony, or Colombia. Finally, through popular vote, the voluntary union with Simón Bolívar's Greater Colombia is decided, a character admired by the entire Panamanian population due to his successful campaigns in the south. But as you must already know, Greater Colombia disintegrates with the deterioration of Bolívar's health, who dies in 1830. While Republic of Ecuador and Venezuela take their own path, Panama remains adhered to the Republic of New Granada, the first name in Colombian history post-Bolívar. Thus, Panama becomes a subnational entity of Colombia. Something that characterized the history of Colombia from its beginnings is violence. During the independent era of the 19th century, there were 8 civil wars. The one we are concerned with is the War of 1,000 Days between 1899 and 1902, in which the two permanently opposed blocs, liberals and conservatives, once again take up arms for control of the country. As for Panama during the 19th century, there were various attempts at secession, including the Constitution of the State of the Isthmus in 1840, in which Panama was independent for a year. During the aforementioned war, Panamanian leaders aligned themselves with the Liberal Party. And of course, several battles were fought on its territory that left a devastated Panama, in addition to being demoralized after the final conservative victory in the war. So as you can imagine, this conflict is the perfect reason for the secession of Panama, a territory where foreign capitals already existed for the construction of the canal. More specifically, the United States was interested in the territory since the signing of the Unravel Treaty. In it, the construction of a transoceanic canal that connects the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans via the Isthmus of Panama is agreed upon. In addition to this, the I-Paunsfot Treaty between the United States and the United Kingdom, the world's then hegemonic power, gave Panama the status of an area of international importance due to the tremendous facilities that a canal in the isthmus would provide to global maritime trade. Thus, President Theodore Roosevelt, who had already sent the U.S. Navy to the area to protect the canal construction at that time, now had free rein to intervene in Colombian politics. In addition to this, there was an intensification of separatist movements by the same isthmus inhabitants who were tired of the war. In fact, an Isthmian elite led by Joseph Agustin Arango and Demetrius Britt worked on preparing for the secession from Colombia, which included securing American protection against a potential invasion from Bogota. Thus, on November 13, 1903, the country's independence was declared under the de facto presidency of Britt, gaining recognition from the United States 10 days later. Subsequently, the Hay-Bonao-Varilla Treaty was signed, in which Washington guarantees Panama's separation and the protection of the nascent country against any military action from Colombia. Likewise, American sovereignty was established over a strip 10 kilometers wide over which the canal would pass, and which was called the Panama Canal Zone, an unincorporated territory of the United States until 1979. By the end of November 1903, about 20 countries from America, Europe, and Asia had already recognized Panama as an independent country. As for Colombia, the news of independence was not known in Bogota until December of the same year, because the country's telegraphic communications had been damaged by the war, and although they had sent a military contingent in case of any revolutionary attempt in a predominantly liberal Panama, this was neutralized with the help of the American military presence. And of course, a country devastated by a war that left almost 40,000 deaths, as well as the destruction of its industries and communication routes, was simply incapable of confronting a power like the United States at that time. The separation of Panama exacerbated the already existing economic crisis in Colombia, and considering that the canal currently generates annual revenues of billions of dollars, it is evident that it was the loss of an excellent opportunity, overshadowed by internal differences in a country where violence reigned from the beginning of its Republican era. And of course, while this was a clear abuse by the United States against Colombian sovereignty, the fact is that it accelerated the construction of the canal, which has since been a key aid for international trade and could have been delayed further due to the Panamanians' independence desires. Do you think this action by the United States was worth it in the end, despite being a controversial intervention that could violate international law? Don't forget to leave your comment, and if you liked this video, support me with a like and subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on my social networks, and if you are interested in supporting this project, any donation on Patreon where we can talk about history will be welcome. In addition, you can find exclusive content on my platform Elma Pataseba's TTV. Until next time.